and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic and the return of the constructor behind the most successful Sudoku in history. The puzzle on screen is by Ard van de Wetering. An Ard's puzzle featuring a magic square and just 4 given digits has now amassed an incredible 6 million views on YouTube, which is, well, absolutely staggering. Now, Ard must be going soft on us, though, because this puzzle has 6 given digits, but no magic square, just a couple of killer cages and the knight's move restraint. So I'll read the rules in just a second, but a couple of things to mention first. On the topic of bifurcation, we seem to have some new viewers at the moment, and we've had a lot of comments saying, what is this thing bifurcation and why do you object to it? Well, basically bifurcation is a euphemism for guessing. Some people even refer to bifurcation as cheating. Now, what basically it means is you get to a point in the solve where you're stuck, and rather than trying to logically deduce the next step, you simply guess one of the cells, and then you see whether that works. You can't foresee whether it will work or not, but you just follow the chain through, and then the puzzle will either break or it won't break. And if it breaks, you unwind to that position where you started with your guess, and you start again. So it's a very, very deeply unsatisfying way of solving puzzles, and I object to it. So you will never see me do it. And I was most amused, actually, by No Feet McGee, who has sent us this cartoon, which I tweeted about the other day, where Sudoku Man, you can see, is slapping down the bifurcator. I'm not going to say who this bifurcator is, but I think that was very, very apposite. And also big thanks to Roteki for this incredibly lifelike portrayal of Sudoku Man. Look, there's Sudoku Man on the left, and the rather sinister Mark Lex Luthor Goodliff on the right. Mark looking, well, I'm not sure, he looks completely terrifying to me, holding a shard of bifurcation or whatever that is he's clutching. Yeah, so Roteki, I enjoyed that very much. Now, last night I had the great honour and pleasure of spending time with Dave Gorman, the famous British comedian and crossword compiler, and Dave hosted a Zoom call for his Twitter followers in which he talked through exactly how to solve a cryptic crossword from very first principles. So he had a lot of people on the call who'd never solved a clue before, let alone a puzzle before, and Dave had gone to incredible effort to make this work. I think the call lasted 3.5 hours, and he'd prepared nearly 300 slides, and it was absolutely wonderful, actually, to hear him talking about crosswords with the kind of passion that we recognise here on Cracking the Cryptic, because that's how we feel about puzzles. And I really hope there may come a point when we can, well, that whole session will be available to watch. It's fascinating fare for anybody who has the sort of ambition of getting into cryptic crossword solving. In the meantime, I have released a solve today of the independent crossword by Hob, which is today's puzzle. It has a nice hidden theme, so if you like your cryptic crosswords, definitely check it out. A couple of other things to mention. What else did I want to say today? Oh, just to check out Patreon. I know we always mention it, but we're incredibly grateful for the support we get there, and we do try and make it worthwhile with all of the extra stuff we include. And there are extra puzzles to solve, there's extra videos, there is all sorts of bonuses. There are all sorts of bonuses. So do have a look. Now, let's get on to Ard's puzzle. What's he got in store for us today? We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. Cells separated by a knight's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So it's our old friend the knight's move. So if this square was an 8, if it was a chess knight, it could jump to those 8 cells. Therefore, none of these 8 cells could contain the digit 8. If we try and put an 8 here, you can see these are a knight's move apart, and that is against the rules of the puzzle, so don't do it. That's too naughty. Now, what else have we got? We've got in cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left-hand corner of the cage, and digits may not repeat within a cage, so we have normal killer Sudoku rules. So that means those 4 cells there, for example, have to sum up to 25 without repeating a digit. So you can't do something like this, because although that seems to add up to the right number. It doesn't look like the 9s break the rules of Sudoku. Indeed they don't, but they do break the rules of killer Sudoku because you can't repeat a number in a cage. So again, don't do that either and you'll be good to go. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And let's get cracking indeed. You can see there's probably not much Sudoku we can do at the beginning because we've only got one repeated digit, and that repeated digit is telling us what? You can only put a 2 in 2 positions in box 8, which is a little bit surprising. That's the knight's move ruling out various cells. All of these 3 here can be ruled out by knight's move. Leaves just 2 positions. And with that, we've done all the Sudoku we can do. So we probably have to think about some of these cages. We've got a 1 in this one. And this one can't have a 2 in it, look, because this 2 and this 2, between them, they see all the cells in the 15 cage. So the question we should ask is, can there be a 3 in the 15 cage? Or must there be a 3 in the 15 cage? Now, if there wasn't a 3, what's the minimum we could include? 4, 5 and 6. 4, 5 and 6 add up to 15. So plus 1 is 16 and the cage would be broken. So there is definitely a 3 in here. And where does the 3 go? Well, it can't go there. That's a knight's move away from its friend. Can't go here by Sudoku. There we get a digit in the grid. That's a 3. So 3 is locked into one of 3 places in box 6. And 3 is locked into also one of 3 places in box 8. And we still need to put 11 more into this 15 cage. And we can't put a 2 in there, and we can't put a 3 in there. And we can't put a 4 in there. This 4 sees both those cells by knight's move. So I think this has to be a 5 and a 6 as the only way left to get to 11. Now that 5 would have to do a tremendous amount of jumping to reach this square. So I think, well, I can't see that we're going to be able to resolve this 5, 6. Can we do anything with the 16? The 16 cage can't have a 1 in it. Right, so if it doesn't have a 2 in it, the minimum we could make these cells would be 3, 4, 5 and 6, and that adds up to 18, which is far too many. So there must be a 2 in the 16 cage, and we can see it only has one place it can go. So 2 goes in. And by Sudoku, look, we can now place the 2 in this box. It's got to be in one of those 3 cells, and this 2 takes care of those 2 because of the knight's move constraint. So we get a 2. There's a 2 up here. 2 is now locked into just one of 2 places in box 5. 16, if there's no 3. Oh, yeah, look, it's still the same logic about 3s with the 16 cage. If there's no 3 in here now, these cells would be a minimum of 4, 5 and 6. 4, 5 and 6 still add up to 15. 15 and 2 is 17. That's definitely higher than 16. So there must be a 3 in here, and it must be there. And now we might be able to do more with 3s. 3 can't go here by knight's move, so 3's in one of those 2 cells. 3 is up there. These 2 cells sum to 11 again. We can get... Right, so this is not... This 11 here is not 2, 9, it's not 3, 8, and it's not 5, 6. Because if this is a 5, 6 pair, what do we put in that cell? The only thing we could do is put a repeated digit in. That won't work. So I think that has to be 4, 7. And again, we don't know much about 4s. Okay. Right, what do we do now? So probably we've got to use these cages, I would think. Because I might be wrong about this, but I'm not seeing much I can do with Sudoku. 4's got 3 possible. I suppose I could notate that. That might. I don't like it when they're that far apart, but with a puzzle with this little information, and Ard is a specialist in basically minimizing the information that you're given. So there will be a pretty linear path to this puzzle. And we will almost certainly have to make every one of these digits sweat to solve it. Right, let's come back over here. So what can we do with these two cages? Yeah, and these cages have a different quality to these cages. These cages are relatively low values, and they had quite a lot of interaction with the surrounding digits. These are high relatively. I mean, this cage averages 6. This cage averages slightly higher than 6 for each cell. And the problem is that we don't know anything about any digits in this puzzle that are higher than 5. Oh, look, 1s, I suppose, are locked into the same cells as... No, I don't like that. I want to put those in the corner. Same cells as 4s. Could that be a... That could be a 1. Look, that would be 7, 8, 9. That would put pressure on the 24 cage, though. Oh, well, there's a small bit of logic there. That doesn't work, look. Because if you do put 1 here and 7, 8, 9 there as a result, because you've got to get to 25, you can't make the 24 cage work, I don't think. Because you'd have very few high digits available. You could only use one of the digits, 7, 8 and 9, and you'd have to use 3. And that's not going to give you enough, is it? Because 6 and 5, however hard I make them add up, will still only ever get you to 11. So you'd have 9, 3, 5, 6 as a maximum. So I don't think this square can be a 1. But it's not even a 1-4 pair, because this square could be this square could still be a 4. And that would put much less pressure on this box, which in turn puts much less pressure on this box. And all we get from that is the ability to say bobbins. I know one of these boxes contains a 3. It would be very nice if it was this one. It would eliminate 2 and 4 from these positions. Okay, now this is actually very tricky, isn't it? So there must be something else we need to do here, I think. Now, can we do any geometry? Can we do any geometry? We can. So what I'm trying to work out is whether I can relate these cages to each other in some way. It feels like there is a way of doing this, actually. And that way, if we highlight those and those and those, we could make those the same as those. Get those. I'm losing track of this. Hang on a second. Let me just do that again. Sorry, I'm going to have to play around with this for a moment just to get my head round things. So let me just have a think. Make those green. Now I can get those green, delete those, make this... Oh, sorry, right, okay, ignore all this. I'm being silly. I am being silly. I don't think I need to make this nearly as complicated as I was about to. Let us simply highlight columns 1 through 4. That's going to be by far the simplest way of doing this. Let's highlight columns 1 through 4. Now, and ask the question, what is in these cells? In the finished solution, we know there must be 4 complete sets of the digits 1 to 9. Because there's going to be a complete set in column 1, a complete set in column 2, etc. So the purples are definitely 4 complete sets of the digits 1 to 9. Well, what about Let's delete those. Well, no, let's leave them in and ask a separate question, which is, what will we find in those 4 rows of the Sudoku if we look at the finished solution? Well, I think we'd all agree that's 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9 as well, 4 complete rows. So what about if from both of those sets of 4, so each of the sets, the purple and the green, I took out whatever appeared in this 4x4. I think we'd agree, I hope we'd agree, that we'd be left with the same set of digits in that what remains of the purples and what remains of the greens, we've taken out the exact same digits from both sets, and both sets started with the exact same digits. So we could say at this point that the purples and the greens were equivalent. And this is starting to get really interesting because, look, I can do some more cancelling here. That set, that's just a set of the digits 1 to 9 because it's all of box 1. That set, that's a set of the digits 1 to 9. So I can remove both of these sets and you end up with this, and that's going to give us a relationship between these. That is just, it's just beautiful. It's just so clever, frankly. I mean, I don't think I've got a better adjective for describing it. That you can just place 4 2x2s in a grid like that. And this is true for any Sudoku. These 4 2x2s lead directly to a relationship between these cells because we know that the purples and the greens contain the same digits, exactly the same digits. So we know they add up to exactly the same number. So if these add up to 49, these add up to 31. There's a difference of 18 between this set. So whatever's in there, I should make that darker. Whatever's in there is 18 different. It's 18 less than whatever is in there. And what's the only way of making a triple 18 different from another triple? Well, there's only one way this is going to work. If we max out these digits, 7, 8, 9, that's 24. Take 18 away, you get 6. What's the minimum? Well, the only way of making 6 is with 1, 2 and 3. Can I reduce this total? Is it possible to make these 3 cells add up to any less? No. Is it possible to make those cells add up to any more? No. So in fact, these are in perfect equilibrium with each other, and this is just a forced relationship. And now, in fact, I'm going to go back to purple because having purple and green, because now what we need to do, because we know that the set in the purple and the set in the green are the same digits. Oh, in fact, the first thing we can do, if this is a 1, 2, 3 triple, that can't be a 1 anymore, look. So 1 must go there, which places 1 in box 6 because it can't go there, and by knight's move it can't go here. That forces 3 upwards. So 3's in one of those 3 positions, I think. So two now can't go here by Sudoku either because the 2's, this is a 1, 2, 3 triple looking down at that cell, so 2's got to go there, which places 2 there, which means 2 must be in this domino at the top of box 3. This 2 sees that cell by knight's move. In fact, the 1 sees that cell by knight's move. 2, 3. So this 1, 2, 3 is the equivalent of those 3 squares. So these 8 cells have got to be made up of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. So there is a repeated 7 in these cells. That's interesting. Okay, if I've got to put 2 7s into these purple cells, and I do because of the geometry of the grid, there are only 2 cages here. So each cage must have a 7 in it. There must be a 7 in the 24. There must be a 7 in the 25, and there can't be a 7 in that domino, therefore, because that would remove the possibility to put the 7 in the 24. So there's a 7 in here. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Is that useful? I suppose I know what those 3 squares are, don't I? Those have got to be 3, 5 and... sorry, look. I've got to put 3, 5 and 6 into this triple. And there's a 5 here. So you can't put 5 in either of those squares because of the knight's move constraint. So 5 goes there. That must be 3. That must be 6. And all of a sudden, we can do some pencil marking. I thought there might be a more dramatic conclusion to that sentence, but that was not what proved to be. So... Okay, what do we do next? 6 in this box. 6 still seems to have a few options to me. 7, 8, 9 have to appear in there, but there is no surprise in that. Okay, we're missing something. Oh, I know what we're missing. This 5 has acquired potency, look. Because look, there's a triple here, 1, 2 and 3, and a 5 there. So this 5 now can't go here by Sudoku or here, but it can't go in those 2 squares by knight's move. So the 5 is locked into just 2 positions. That 5 fixes our 5 and our 6. Oh, this 6 is massive now. Because look, where does 6 go in the central box? It can't go here. It can't go here or here or here because of that 6. 6 goes there. That took the place of a 7 pencil mark. That plonks the 4 in. This has got to be an 8-9 pair. 7 is not in this domino anymore. Now we need 5, 8 and 9 at the bottom of column 4. That can't be 5. These squares now are 4, 8 and 9. This one can't be a 4 because of the 4 down here. So this is 8 or 9, and this is part of a 25 cage. We've got 13 in it so far. So this domino has to add up to 12. So this can't be 8, because an 8 would need a 4 here, and there can't be a 4 there, so that's 9. That's 3. This 9 sees that square by knight's move, so the 9 and the 8 can go in. The 4 sees the 4 and the 7. Oh, good grief. This is just Ard showing off, isn't it? It's ridiculous that you can put 6 clues in a grid, or 6 clues in a grid, a couple of cages, and somehow the Sudoku solves. This, oh no, we can't. I thought this 2 and 1 might do more damage here, but they don't seem to. Now, I've got a 4-8 pair, that's 12. I know there's a 7 in this domino, so we now know this is a 5-7, don't we? That would seem to be logical. There's a 7 here. Yeah, 5, 7. This should be a 1-6 pair. There's a 6 here. Lovely. 6 and 1 go in. So probably we look at those 3 squares now. We need 4, 6 and 9. 6 and 9, see that one by knight's move, so that's 4. 6-9 pair here. The moment, by the way, I see this 6-9 pair, I'm looking at these 2 dominoes, because I now can't put 6 or 9 in any of these yellow cells, because if I try to, I'll rule both digits out of this pair. But doesn't look that helpful. I'm removing 6 from there. I suppose there's a 6. Oh, no, actually, let's look at 6s. Where does 6 go in box 1? It can't go here. It can't go in the domino for the reasons I just described. And this 6 sees that cell. That one there. So there's a 6 in one of these 3 positions. which means there's a 6 in one of those two positions, which doesn't actually get us anything, but it's the sort of thing in these puzzles that might be important. Now you can't put a 9 in here. 9s are less useful. Let's look at these cells. So these have got to be 5, 7 and 8. I'm not seeing anything immediate. I mean, I can see that's not 8. Oh, it's not 7. Not seeing anything immediate, he says, when it's staring him in the face. So this is now a 7, 8 domino. Again, let's look at these two squares, therefore. So these can't be 7, 8. So they can, what can they be? It's quite an interesting pair, actually. Treating them as a pair, they can't be 2, 3, 5, 7 or 8. So they've got to be 1, 4, 6 or 9. Now that can't be 6. Oh, in fact, this cell is interesting, isn't it? Because this cell, because of its position, it sees all 3 of those and all 3 of these. In the sense that if you try and put, I don't know, any of these digits in this cell, you break the puzzle. And this cell, of course, has an equivalent in boxes 1, 7 and 9. These 3 cells are the cells we're going to have to investigate, I think. Yeah, so if you look at this one, for example, this sees 1, 2 and 3. You can't put a 3 in here because you'd remove 3 from all of those cells. So this square can't be 1, 2, 3, can't be 4, can't be 5. It can be 6 though. Oh, and it can be 7. Bobbins, 8, 9. It can't be those. So this is 6 or 7. 5's got to be in one of those two positions by Sudoku. Okay. Okay, let's keep checking these interesting cells though. So this one, that can be 3. It can't be 1 or 2. It can be 4 maybe. Can't be 5, can't be 6, can't be 7, 8 or 9. So this one is 3 or 4. It's not quite good enough. This one could be 1, can't be 2, 3, can't be 4. Oh, can be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've almost got these cells down to something reasonable. Oh no. This 3 sees that square by Knight's move. This is going to be the way that this puzzle... Now we get a domino here, so let's check this domino. So now this cell can't be a 3 anymore. So it can't be 1, 2 or 3. I think it can be 4 though. Can't be 5. Oh, can be 6. Oh, this is what this way madness lies, doesn't it? It's just... That seems to have a plethora of options. Okay, what are we missing? We've got a lot of digits, a lot of real estate in this column. We need 1, 7, 8 and 9. That can't be 1 or 7. That's an 8 or a 9. So I can see that's got a pair, 8, 9 pair in row 8. 1, look, where does 1 go in this column? It's got to go in one of those two squares, which takes it out of these two squares. Oh, we're closing in. This cell sees 9 by Knight's move, so this could be 1. No, that's no good. 1, 7 or 8, I think. And this one's 1. Oh, that one's even worse. 1, 7, 8 or 9. Oh no, not 9, because 9's in the domino. So 9 is in one of those two squares, which I think removes 9 from this square, because if this was 9 you couldn't put 9 in either of those two squares, and then you wouldn't be able to put 9 in column 7, which is a bit mad, but that can't be 8 by Knight's move. Okay, we must be missing some simple stuff here. What is it I'm missing? Oh, bobbins. Right, well, it's not simple, but 7. Where does 7 go in box 7 of the grid? This 7 sees those 2 squares by knight's move, those by Sudoku. 7 can only go here. Now let us hope that that is... Oh, yes, look. Now where this square is resolved now. So 7, 7. That can't be 7. There's a 7 in one of these 2 squares just by Sudoku logic, but this can only be 6 now. Which gives us the 6 and the 9. Good. That... Yeah, this is actually lovely. It's doing all sorts of things. It is doing all sorts of things. That can't be 6 now. But where does 6 go in box 3? Well, it can't go here because it'd be a knight's move away from its friend. So it's got to go there. 6 moves to the domino at the bottom of box 9. But this 9 is seeing that square, which is forcing that to be 4. Can't see whether that's restricted or not. But certainly the 4 is giving us the 9 above it. So 9 now in... Yeah, here we go. 9 in box 1. Where can it go? It can't go here, and it can't go there because of the knight's move, so it goes there. So this isn't 9. It's not 7 either, because of that 7 down there. Now there's a 4-8 pair here, which makes this a 3. It's just madness. 3s. Threes, 2s. That can't be 6. Oh no, that's not helpful, unfortunately. 6, 1, 3. Let's have a look at this column. 1, 7. No, 1, 5, 7 and 8. That can't be 1. 5, 7 and 8 all look possible. This one, that's C7, I suppose. 1, 5 or 8. Good grief. Okay, so we can do something beautiful, actually. This square. What is this? Now this has a very interesting relationship with its friends up here, look. Because whatever goes in here has to find a home in that triple. Now where is its home going to be? Its home will have to be there, because by knight's move it can't be here, by Sudoku it can't be here. These digits are the same digit. And if they're the same digit, what do we learn about the Sudoku? We've got to put red in one of those 3 squares. Well, so red must be 9. And we can see that if we try and make red 8, for example, that is not going to work. That is gorgeous. So this must be a 9 pair. And that gets me a 7 and an 8. Which I might tidy up some stuff down here. Yes, where does 7 go in the column? It must go here. So 7 must be in one of these 3 squares. This becomes a 1-8 pair at the top, which I can see is also interesting regarding this square. But let me just have a look down at the bottom for a bit longer. This 9 is doing this square. These cells have got to be 4, 6 and 8, haven't they? So let's put that in. That's not 8. That's not 4. And that's not 6. Unfortunately, that's exactly not what we wanted. Okay, well these are 2, 3 and 7. Whoops, 2, 3 and 7. 3 sees that one. 2 sees that one. 7 doesn't seem to see any of them. That could be wrong. It's very easy to miss something. Let's come back to this square. Can this be 8? The answer, no. It would rule 8 out of both of those. So this is 7. This is 8. That 7 does rule a 7 out of here at last. The 7 also, look. Yeah, it rules a 7 out of this cell. And that means I get to place a 7 here, which places a 7 here, which gives me a 3, gives me a 2. 2 is forced here by Sudoku. This square's got to be a 1 or a 3, and it can't be a 3, so it must be a 1. 1, 1, 3 go in. The 1 fixes the 1 and the 8. The 8 must go here. That fixes the 8 and the 4. Now where does 4 go in down here? Ah, well, yeah, where does 4 go in box 7? Can't go there, can't go here, can't go here. So 4 goes there, 4 goes here. These two squares have got to be 3 and 5. There's 3 here. Okay, we can do that. 3 and 5 go in. And probably this domino is going to be key. This must be a 6-8 pair. Yeah, 8 there, 6 here, 4 here, 8 here, 6 here. I don't quite know what's seeing these squares. I'm sure something is. And 1, 5 and 9 over there. We're getting a bit towards the left of the grid though. And the left of the grid is not the place where knight's moves are going to be very useful. Ah, but they are in this instance because this square sees a 9 in the row. So that is the 5. That fixes the 5 and the 1. This 5 fixes the 5 and the 9. That fixes a 9 up here. And this should be a 1. And that is, I think, the correct solution. Let's click tick. Yes. Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant what Ard can do with numbers, isn't it? He just sort of, he's a wizard, an absolute wizard. I loved that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Let's try and get this video up to 6 million views. That would be very, very nice indeed. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.